Hi Beatle people, welcome back to A Beatleful Life. So in today's video we're going to do kind of a chit chat video. I'm going to be talking about what my favorite song is from each Beatles album. And what inspired this was this thing that's going around kind of within the Beatles fandom on Instagram right now, and it's these templates where you fill out kind of a bracket for each Beatles album, like you narrow the songs down and you end up with your favorite. And I've been having fun doing those, so I thought I would make it into a video. And I do have a visual aid here. This is a little wheel from an old calendar that I had, and you spin it and it tells you the name of the album and when it was released. I think for today I'm going to do the top half of the wheel, so I'm going to start at Please Please Me and end with Let It Be. So let's get started. Alright, so first up is Please Please Me. My favorite song from Please Please Me right now is I Saw Her Standing There. And I've always loved that song, and I remember when I was getting back into the Beatles after I had a couple years where I didn't listen to them so much, maybe like age 12 or something like that. I Saw Her Standing There was one of the songs that I just couldn't stop listening to. I remember I was on a road trip to Hershey Park, and I remember I had one of my little iPod Shuffle, and I was listening to that song over and over and over again for almost the whole car ride. I think it's really fun to listen to and just really upbeat and happy. Next up is With the Beatles. My favorite song right now from With the Beatles is It Won't Be Long. I think it's kind of an underrated song. You maybe don't hear people talking about it as much, and it's another upbeat song. I tend to favor upbeat songs in general, but I love singing along to that song with my dad. My dad, by the way, is actually the one who got me into listening to the Beatles in the first place. I believe I talked about that in my How I Became a Beatles Fan video that I did last year. My second favorite song from that album is I Want to Be Your Man, and I love hearing Ringo play that live. I was supposed to see Ringo this year, but of course that got postponed, so I'm really hoping that things are back to some sense of normalcy next year so I can see him on the rescheduled date, but I love that song. Next is A Hard Day's Night, and my favorite song from that is the title track, A Hard Day's Night. I actually just watched that movie a couple days ago, but that shouldn't be surprising because I say on my channel all the time that is my favorite Beatles movie. But I love the title track, and it's really great that Paul has been opening up his shows with that song. I love a whole bunch of songs on that album, so it was pretty hard to pick a favorite. I think my second favorite would be Things We Said Today. So next up is Beatles For Sale. My favorite song from that album right now is 8 Days a Week, which of course is a very well-known and loved Beatles song. Something about that I think is cool, if you listen to the Beatles channel on Sirius XM and you have one of the screens in your car that like that displays the information about the songs and the radio station and stuff, it says Beatles 24/8, like instead of 24/7, because 8 days a week. Next up is Help, and that's actually another movie I just watched. I watched it right after A Hard Day's Night the other day. My favorite song from Help is Another Girl. I think I mentioned a couple of videos ago when I was talking about my Beatles top threes that the Another Girl kind of music video within the movie is one of my favorite Beatles music videos. So it's only right that is my favorite song as well from the album. I actually have heard Paul play that live before. I can't remember what year it was, but at some point he did have that in his set list. It might have been 2015 when I saw him in Philadelphia. But yeah, great song. Next up is Rubber Soul, which is my favorite Beatles album, as you can see by my pillow over there. So this was the one that was most difficult to choose a favorite song. Really, I love every song on the album, but I had to pick one for the bracket, so my favorite right now is In My Life, which of course is another really well-known and loved song. I think it's a beautiful song and definitely one of the best parts of the album, but I think the entire album is great. And I remember actually for my 8th grade kind of graduation slideshow, we had this kind of slideshow of pictures of all of us, and we had to send in a song for them to play in the background, and I picked In My Life for that, which I think is a really good graduation song. And I remember being very excited about that. Next up is Revolver, And my favorite song from Revolver right now is And Your Bird Can Sing. It's a shorter song, but I really enjoy it. I love the guitar and the harmonies, and there's this really funny alternate take of the song where like John and Paul are giggling like maniacs. It's really funny. Speaking of Revolver, I can't believe I forgot to show this. My local radio station has a contest. It's called the Backwards Beatles Contest, and they have it every week. And basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. They play a Beatles song backwards, and you try to guess what it is. I actually won a couple of weeks ago. So I won this shirt as a prize. The show is, as you can see, Ticket to Ride with Bobby Nash, 60 Minutes of the Beatles. And the song that I guessed for the contest was Dr. Robert, which is one of my other favorites on Revolver. This shirt is actually pretty big, so I think I'm going to be wearing it as a pajama shirt. Next up is Sgt Pepper. Now this is another one of my favorite Beatles albums, so it was really difficult to narrow them down and pick a favorite. But my favorite right now is Within You Without You, which I think I also mentioned in my Beatles Top 3s video. But I love George's voice in this, and I love the Indian instruments. I love a lot of his Indian style songs, and I think it's a really peaceful song. It's especially great to listen to when it's raining outside, I find. But I just really love it. It's very calming and really just pleasant to listen to. So next up is Magical Mystery Tour. My favorite song from that album is Baby You're a Rich Man. I love the instruments and the vocals on that song, and I really like singing along to it as well. I think my second favorite for that bracket was Penny Lane, but it was really hard for me to pick between Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane. Let me know in the comments below which of those songs do you prefer, because I kept going back and forth on which one I like better. So next up is The White Album. My favorite song from that right now is Rocky Raccoon. It's a Paul song that I really enjoy. I think I like Paul's songs that tell a story, and I think it's really fun to sing along to as well. And you know how sometimes when like you're in a hotel room and there's a Bible in the drawer, it always makes me think of that song because of Gideon's Bible. Next up is Yellow Submarine. My favorite song is Hey Bulldog. I love John's vocals in that song, and the barking part at the end too is funny. I like that part in the movie as well. I just actually got the Yellow Submarine movie on DVD recently, which I showed in my last video, which is my Beatles movie collection. Next is Abbey Road. My favorite song from there is Octopus's Garden. It's a really fun and happy song. It's kind of a really feel-good song. I wish I could hear Ringo play that live. He hasn't played it live in the times that I've seen him. I'm not sure if he used to have it on his set list or not, but I would really like to hear that live. My favorite song from Abbey Road when I was younger, maybe 13 or so, used to be Maxwell's Silverhammer. That's pretty funny because the song is like upbeat and happy, but the material, the subject rather, is not so happy. And then lastly we have Let It Be. My favorite song from Let It Be is Dig a Pony. And I think that maybe that's a little bit of an unconventional choice perhaps, but I really like that song even though the lyrics are kind of nonsensical. I think I read once when the Beatles were doing their rooftop concert, like someone had to hold up like actual like cards with the lyrics on them so John could remember his own lyrics. That's another one that I really like singing along to, and I also think it's funny in the beginning when Ringo blows his nose. So that concludes the first half of the wheel. If you would like to see the second half, let me know, and I can do a part 2 to this video at some point. But that is going to do it for today's video. So I want to say thank you very much for watching, and be sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more things like this. Let me know in the comments below what some of your favorite songs are. And also linked in the description will be my social media and blog as always, so you can check those out. And as always, have a beautiful day everybody. Bye bye.